Chase your dreams, guys, and welcome to the first episode of Music Monday, where I show you some of my greatest concert photographs and take you behind the scenes in the life of a concert photographer. This first one is going to be really hard to get through because I'm still kind of feeling the brunt of the death of one of our greatest American songwriters of all time, Tom Petty. If you know me, there's one band that is the soundtrack to my life, and that's U2. But over the past 10 to 13 years, there's one band who has really given U2 a run for their money, and that's Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. The music is maybe not quite as meaningful, but the music takes you places. The music travels with you. As most of you know, we recently lost Tom Petty. He died a few months ago. It was really shocking news, as just 7 days before his death, he had played the last show of his 40th anniversary concert tour where he'd gone all across America, ended up in his hometown at the Hollywood Bowl, triumphant concert a week later, and he's no longer with us. Still kind of coming to terms with what that means. You listen to a Tom Petty song and you're always thinking he's that big brother, maybe father figure who's giving you a little chunk of wisdom here and there in his songs. Now that he's gone, you have to take all of his songs and shift the way that you look at him. Almost like he's singing to you from the grave as like the wise old man who went through life, now giving you the advice, now telling you can do it, telling you to not back down. Tom Petty, to me, was about way more than the man. It was also about the band, the Heartbreakers. I could go on and on about each member of the Heartbreakers. I could go on and on about his lifetime friendship for over 40 years with guitarist Mike Campbell and keyboardist Ben Montench. I could go into the drums and the bass and the different stories. I know everything. I've watched all the documentaries. I read his biography last year. You end up knowing everything about the band, and every up and down that they go through, you feel like you're going through it too. Now, I'm a big hater of celebrity, so I never put Tom or the guys on a pedestal. It's just that music-wise, I love their music. They are musicians. They were musicians that also had a voice. Tom fought for people in the music industry. He went up against the record companies and actually won. In his middle part of his career, he put out a song called The Last DJ that was really hammering on the record industry. At one point, his record label tried to raise the price of his CDs at the time, and Tom just went off on them, ended up getting them to lower the price of the CD. He's done so much for the music industry. He was the rebel. If he wasn't so much of a rebel, he probably would have been even more popular. Tom was one of the heroes of the MTV generation. From 1981 to about, let's call it 1989, his MTV music videos were just iconic. How many people can forget the Alice in Wonderland video of the song Don't Come Around Here No More, as Alice had turned into a cake and the band is taking slices of her body out and eating them, as Dave Stewart from the Eurythmics is smoking a pipe and sitting on top of a mushroom as another character from Alice in Wonderland. Just think of that apocalyptic themed video for You Just Got Lucky, where they're all walking around in the desert and the dust. I think about the song Refugee and the video for that. Tom Petty was just iconic. He just took the creativity of the videos. And then, you know, the traditional song that everybody loves. I have to make a confession. I'm not a huge fan of it. I like it, maybe love it a little, but am not obsessed about it the way that everybody else is. She's a good girl, loves her mama, loves Jesus and her boyfriend too. You know, free falling. But then again, Tom Petty took that video to the next level. He filmed it in a local mall in Southern California, a mall that if you lived in Southern California, you've been there 1 or 2 times. He was such an innovator in music. There's no sound like the Heartbreakers. That's why after his death, so many people have tried to do a tribute to him and cover his songs. Every time I put on those tributes, I'm just like, I can't listen to that. It's because the band has the trademark Heartbreakers sound. I mean, this is the band that Johnny Cash, in his dying days, he's recording those last few albums with producer Rick Rubin. And who does Rick Rubin call in to back Johnny Cash's album? Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. In the late 80s, he puts together the supergroup, one of the coolest supergroups of all time. The Traveling Wilburys, Roy Orbison, Bob Dylan, George Harrison, Jeff Lynne. What an incredible album they make. And you remember Roy Orbison died right after they recorded the album, and then the album goes #1 the week of his death. Tom was one of those guys who got along with all the other superstars in the industry, so there's a lot of videos, you can check him out on YouTube, of him jamming away with other artists. There's a famous one of Prince going off at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, shredding the solo, just going off on it. And of course it's Tom and the Heartbreakers who are backing him up on that. One of the most difficult things in the concert industry as photographers is getting approved to shoot the shows that you want to shoot. And here was one of my greatest petty memories of all time. He was playing this exclusive residency. I believe he played 3 or 4 shows. It was at this small venue on Hollywood Boulevard in Hollywood called the Fonda Theater. Really hard, obviously, to get credentialed to shoot it. But I worked and I worked and I sent emails and I told them, hey, I've already shot Tom at the Hollywood Bowl. I'd love to shoot him again. At this time, I was shooting for my own magazine called Hollywood Icon Magazine, which I started in 2007. One night, I'm up late working, editing photos, and the news comes in. You got approved to shoot the show. Fast forward to the night of the show. I'm super excited. A bunch of my friends are excited too that I'm getting to shoot this small residency in this small club. They come out, they give me my credential, and I get walked into this place. I get walked all the way around the back of the venue, all the way back, and I come around through the stage door, so I'm backstage there. Next thing you know, you're just in this tiny pit. It's just intense. So the band comes out, and Tom's just hamming it up. He doesn't have sunglasses on that night, and he's just like directly into the camera. Tom, Mike Campbell, all the guys, even some great images of Steve Ferroni, the drummer, who I just am in love with, one of the greatest musicians of all time in my book, and just chills the whole time, just unbelievable moments. So fast forward to this year, Tom's coming through Nashville on his 40th anniversary tour. Of course I put in for it, and I actually get approved right away, which was really cool. The day of the show, I get word, oh, by the way, we're gonna provide a ticket for you also. So I not only get to go shoot the first 3 songs, then I get escorted out, and then you gotta check in your camera gear. And all of a sudden I'm being led down to my seat. Well, the seat is in like the 6th row, right on the side of the stage. Just perfect night. I'm singing along the entire night. Got just magic shots that night. Fast forward to a month later. I knew that Tom, the tour was going around and it was gonna go through Memphis. I remember telling 2 of my friends this could be the last tour ever. And I just had this feeling I needed to get in the car and go to Memphis, about a 4-hour drive, completely by myself. I kind of had to make the decision. Do you want to try and scalp and go to the show by yourself? And I just knew I was supposed to go. So I go on StubHub. This is literally like 15 minutes before the show. I'm having problems with my cell phone and the tickets won't go through. Next thing you know, my cell phone buys this ticket that's in the nosebleed section. And I'm like, no, I don't want this ticket. I just have this weird feeling this is gonna be the last tour. So I actually go and I buy a second ticket. Sorry, Jen, sorry to my wife. She knows, but I had to do this. So I text her and I'm like, can I do this? I just have this feeling. A ticket ends up popping up on the side of the stage. So I'm literally a little bit behind the band and you could just see out through the crowd. It's just a magical show. I didn't shoot it, but I just experienced the show. I remember them closing with American Girl. I have footage from my cell phone from it, and who would have known that would be the last time you would ever see Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers live. I still feel very much in denial about it, that he's gone. It was just one of those surreal things. I'm still kind of like processing through it. Yeah, I could just ramble on and on and on about the fact that you can take the hits and you could you could throw out all the hits. You could throw out everything that's on radio, and I could still put a playlist together of 30 songs that you would listen to for 10 minutes and they would rock your world. My wife and I fell in love to Tom Petty music. Tom Petty, you will be missed, but your music will live on. I will always consider you and Mike Campbell together as the greatest American songwriters of all time. That's been the first episode of Music Mondays. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next Monday with another concert. Love you guys. Chase your dreams. Talk to you soon.